Canals are man-made artificial waterways, or channels, built with utility purposes in mind, like water supply or the transport of goods and people. The canals always brought growth through commerce and development of a nation, so they were of very high importance. Today, a lot of canals are left into oblivion, with no other use than to age and degrade, as most of them were built in the times of rising industry and urbanization. But there are some, a fraction of all that were built in the past, that are still used today. They preserve their initial role, but they serve a different type of purpose as well, as a touristic attraction. Those ones are so aesthetic that a lot of people appreciate them as true artworks. They tell stories of beautiful romantic times, so they have become travel destinations, with some of them being well known all around the world. Here we'll take a look at the finest of them, the 10 most famous canals in the world. Stockholm. Stockholm is a wonderful city spread over 14 islands, strategically placed between Lake Mälaren and the Baltic Sea, and righteous called by its inhabitants beauty on water. The public transport system is well developed and works smoothly everywhere. Bridges connect most of the islands, and the ferries and the metro link everything else. But the best way to see it is strolling its streets through medieval buildings, palaces, and churches, or the more modern side with its good design, beautiful humble coffee shops and minimalist modern buildings. Don't forget to take a boat trip and pass under the picturesque canal bridges. Alappuzha. Alappuzha is a city in the Kerala region of southern India, and an important tourist destination in India, known as Venice of the East for its beautiful canals, backwaters, beaches, and lagoons. With so picturesque surroundings, it's no wonder it has developed such a huge attraction to tourists from all over the world. From floating around on houseboat cruises to visiting ancient temples, wandering around its small and chaotic center, or through its little world of villages on the water, a visit to Alappuzha will be a mesmerizing and unforgettable experience. Bangkok. The Bangkok Klong's canals in Thai were built from the beginnings to ease the transportation around the city, and even host its famous floating markets. You'll find canals everywhere, small and large, with the Thonburi side having the larger ones, or the Ratchaburi province with the most important floating market. But the most important, the Klong Sen Sahib in the center of the city, created on the Chao Phraya River, is the main transport route throughout the city, on which you'll find no less than 6 types of boats, depending on the purpose of your travel. If you're in for some exploration of Bangkok's secrets on the water, we advise you to get a guide, since the routes are quite confusing. Ansi. Nestled right next to the turquoise waters of Lake Ansi, one of the cleanest lakes in the world, this wonderful little town is often called Venice of the Alps. But apart from its charming canals, Ansi also has snow-capped mountains in the background, glitzy shops like Paris, and a superb Sans Souci architecture. The flower-bedecked Canal du Thiou is the main attraction among its waterways, while the swooping bridges, inviting walkways, fountains, little boats, and swans complete a picture-perfect setting. There are numerous chic restaurants and cafes along the canals, where French cuisine will get a new meaning when it's complemented by the beauty of these crystal-clear waters. Suzhou. Located on the Yangtze River and the shores of Lake Tai in the Jiangsu province of eastern China, Suzhou is the second largest city in the province, enriched by canals, stone bridges, pagodas, and amazing gardens. placing it among the most attractive tourist destinations in the world. The city is traversed by small rivers that are used to improve the transportation around it. The canals date more than 1,200 years ago. The architecture of Suzhou shows as well the city's uniqueness and its long history. Panama Canal. Considered one of the largest and most complex engineering accomplishments of man, the Panama Canal was built to connect the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans, thus improving the maritime trade. Started in 1881 and officially opened in 1914, the Panama Canal has a length of 77.1 kilometers and it's used by over 14,000 ships each year. Apart from that, you can as well cruise through it just for the fun of it. The American Society of Civil Engineers named it one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. Hoi An. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, Hoi An is a city situated on the South China Sea coast in Vietnam and dating from more than 2,000 years ago. Its rich architecture and incredibly long history attracts a high number of tourists every year. The main tourist landmarks are the Old Town with tailor shops, wooden houses, the Central Market and its well-preserved 15th century port that brings together the influences of the surrounding countries. You can explore it by bicycle or motorbike, but the best way to see its wonders is from a kayak or a motorboat on the Thursday Bon River. Bruges. The best preserved medieval city in Europe, Bruges is one of the premier tourist attractions of Belgium. Apart from its wonderful Romanesque and Gothic architecture, it also has a network of canals on the Ried River used for trade and transport. It used to be the most important commercial city in the world during the Middle Ages due to that, but today it stands out through its well-preserved history, dreamy canals, amazing churches, superb market squares and an overall fairy tale atmosphere. Amsterdam. Another Venice, the one of the north is the title that sometimes Amsterdam wears. Situated on 90 islands separated by 3 main canals, Haringgracht, Prinsengracht, and Keizersgracht and united by 1,500 bridges, Amsterdam is a mesmerizing place to visit. With hundreds of monumental buildings rising above the historic canals, large or small, all of them forming the famous canal ring that's now on the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Amsterdam will leave you somewhere outside time itself. Because time stops there. Especially if you take a canal boat to wander around. We know it's famous for bicycles, but do take a boat. It's a must. Venice. Venice. The city to which all other water cities are compared to, has a charm like no other with its grandiose architecture, amazing waterways, picturesque bridges, and alluring narrow backstreets. Comprised of no less than 118 small islands, Venice became one of the most important tourist destinations in the world and is widely regarded as one of the most beautiful cities around the globe, swarming with tourists who choose it for their perfect romantic getaway.